Welcome to the Word version of 5.7. In this particular case, this is actually something that is quite common in finance. I also teach finance, and we use this exact same type of analysis. I said we don't focus in on the calculations. Sometimes we do, but it's more the interpretation of the results in finance that's important. I've already shown you how to calculate the mean / expected value for return in problem 5.4. I showed you in Word and I showed you in Excel how to do that. So I'm not going to do that again. If you want to review that, go to 5.4, Excel in particular. We also showed you how to calculate the standard deviation, and we're also going to add the analysis of which stock you would invest in. So this course is not just about doing calculations. That would be a disservice to you. We want to show you where to use the various formulas. We also want to show you how to interpret them and make them useful. So in finance or supply chain or marketing, statistics is used heavily. So in this particular case, you can see the expected values for X is 71. Expected value for Y is 97. The printout, by the way, looks a little different because I used a program called PHStat, which we're not going to use. By the way, the reason we're not going to use that is because it's proprietary to Pearson. And so we are going to show you Excel, which is not a specialized program. So we have the variance for the two, we have the standard deviations for the two, and the covariance and things along that line that we don't actually need in this particular case. So the expected return for X is $71. The expected return for Y is $97. So Y gives a higher expected return. But the standard deviation for X is 61.88. The standard deviation for Y is 84.27. As you remember from our discussions about standard deviation, the larger the standard deviation, the wider the dispersion. The wider the dispersion, the higher the level of risk. So standard deviation is a very important factor in finance. So you would normally be expected to know that lower return, lower risk, higher return, higher risk. So what do we get here? We get low return of $71. Risk is about 62. We get a higher rate of return of 97, but the risk is higher at a factor of 84. So in this case, in part C, the interpretation of the results, stock Y gives the investor a higher expected return than X, but it also has a higher standard deviation. So risk-averse investors, people who don't like risk, will invest in X, whereas people who are risk takers will invest in Y.